Hello, my name is Mr. Scales, and today I'm going to walk you through how to set up your game controller project to show that you understand the rules for online safety and to give yourself some tips and give your classmates some tips on how to safely game online. Now we're going to use Scratch as our tool to create our presentation for this project, so you'll need to have your Scratch program open. And we're going to start this by getting rid of the cat sprite. So you can either click the scissors and click on the cat or to get rid of them, or you can right click on them down here and delete them. So the first thing with this project that you're going to need is the stage. Now the stage is the background for your project. So what you're going to do in your stage, you're going to click on backgrounds and you're going to click on edit from here, and that way you can draw your own background for this. Now everyone's going to do their own drawing for their Scratch controller for this project. So what I want you to do is just kind of come up with an outline of a controller. And I'm going to do a very simple example as if an old school Nintendo controller was my controller for the project. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in here and I'm just going to do a quick drawing. So say I did this as my controller, and maybe I want to add a little cord that goes along with it. Maybe I'll choose gray. Change my brush size in here, and remember guys, if you're better at drawing on the computer than I am, feel free to be as creative as possible. If you want to make it an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller or a controller from your imagination, feel free to use whichever you'd like. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little cord goes out from the project, okay? And then maybe I'll also put in my directional arrow over here. Okay, so maybe we'll do this in, maybe I'll make my button colors red for this project, okay? So there is a simple background for my controller. Okay, now what I'm going to do for this project is I'm going to make all of the different buttons say a different tip from our online safety handout. So after I set up my background, it'll look something like this. Now what you're going to do when you click on scripts, you should have nothing in here for your background. What we're going to do now is we're going to have to paint some new sprites for our controller project. So I'll click on paint new sprite, and from there I can start creating my buttons. Now you can choose the size and how you want to set it up. That's completely up to you. For this, actually, maybe I don't want to do black. Remember, your undo button's right here. So maybe I'll stick with my red, and I'll do a red A button here. And you guys can use your text tools to type in letters for your buttons if you'd like. You can also change the font size here. So if I type in the letter A, now I have that set up as a button. So when I click OK, I now have an A button on my controller, and you can put it wherever you'd like it to be. Now each button should be its own sprite, and also if you want to shrink up the sprites, you can do it like this to shrink it down, or if you want to make it larger, you can use the grow sprite button. Okay, after you have it set up, and you guys are going to put in at least 4 buttons for your project. I'm just going to show you one as an example here, but after I set it up and I have my one button set there, now what I'm going to do is I am going to set it up so that my button says something when I click on it. So you're going to want to use your control tools over here, and it's up to you if you want to name your sprites or if you just want to leave them as sprite 1 or sprite 2. I'm going to name mine, so I'm going to call this one A button up top, and I'm going to say when A button is clicked, notice that change down here from sprite 1 to A button. When A button is clicked, then I want it to say something. So in this case, I'm going to put in my say hello for 2 seconds, but I'm going to change that. So in this case, I want to use one of my tips from the online gaming safety handout. So if I take a look, there's a lot of different good tips here. I want to put them in my own words and come up with one of these tips. So maybe I want to do, let's see here. Maybe I want to say, for this one, I want to check to see if the game your child plays have reporting features or moderators. Well, since you are the child, you're going to say check to see what features or moderators the games have for online safety. Okay? So I would want to put that in. I could even say hello if I want, and then I could even put in another say underneath, or it's completely up to you how you want to set it up. But I could say, check to see if the game you are playing has safety features or moderators. Okay? Now, notice you can scroll over here, okay, to make sure you're typing in the proper stuff, okay? And as you make it bigger, Scratch will give you as much space as you need. And you're also going to want to make this a little bit longer. 2 seconds isn't long enough for that long sentence. So now when I make it 5 seconds, now we want to check it to see if our A button works. And when I click on it, it will say hello, and then it will say check to see if the game you are playing has safety features or moderators. Okay, so that is one safety tip for one button. Remember, for this project you're doing at least 4 buttons on your controller to set it up, but now it's an interactive controller that gives me tips when I click on it. Okay, so this has been Mr. Scales showing you guys how to set this project up. I can't wait to see what you create. Thank you.